Welcome to the Twin Labs podcast, where we help you make better decisions using AI and digital twins. Today, we are launching an intensive deep dive into what is, well, arguably the most essential yet often overlooked business asset, the company profile. We're talking about that foundational document, the one that shows up as your About Us page, or the boilerplate on a press release, or even that critical description on your LinkedIn company page. What's so fascinating right now is how modern AI tools are just completely revolutionizing its creation. They're transforming what used to be a really tedious, weeks-long effort into a truly strategic opportunity.
That's absolutely right. And our mission for you today is to get past the idea of just faster writing. This is really about establishing deep brand authority and credibility. We want you to understand how to leverage AI responsibly and intelligently to create a clear, compelling narrative that works for all your audiences. And think about the scope here. We're talking internal teams who need to get the mission, external partners, investors looking for stability, job seekers, and of course, your clients. Every single word matters.
And to get there, we've gathered some really comprehensive sources today. We're covering the full spectrum from, the psychological reasons why these pages command so much attention, all the way to the really mechanical parts of the workflow, things like prompt engineering templates and structured data schemas. We're talking about setting up files, often in JSON format, that act as the single source of truth for your business. And we also get into the critical, ethical, and quality control guidelines. So our goal is really to distill the absolute best practices so you can use these tools to build trust and authority effectively. And this is really where the power of structured data and expertise, like what we apply at Twin Labs when we're advising on data integration, really makes a tangible difference.
Yeah, let's kick things off by elevating the company profile from just, an informational document to a real strategic asset. A successful profile has to clearly communicate your core values and engage that wide, diverse range of stakeholders. In a world just saturated with information, your profile is your primary engine for building a positive brand image and, well, earning trust.
I like to call it the definitive brand handshake.
Exactly.
It's that moment you stop talking about what you sell and you start talking about who you are.
That's a perfect way to put it. And the data confirms that this handshake is so much more critical than most marketing teams realize. Research is consistent here. 52% of website visitors actively want to see the About Us page first.
Wait. 52%? That's astonishing. Over half your traffic is looking for identity before they even check the price.
It says so much about modern consumer behavior, doesn't it? And it's not just idle curiosity. We see a direct link to value. Customers who visit that page spend, on average, a staggering 22.5% more.
22.5% more. That's a huge lift. What's behind that? Is it like a functional thing or is it something deeper?
It points to a deep psychological payoff. When a customer takes the time to visit that page, they're really doing two things. One, they're confirming quality, sure, but more importantly, they're seeking value alignment.
Value alignment, okay.
They're essentially vetting you as a partner. So if they read your story and they feel a connection, the purchase shifts. It goes from being purely transactional to emotionally reinforced. It justifies a higher spend.
And that ties right into this huge desire for, purposeful commerce, right?
Absolutely. The driving force behind that 22.5% lift is the need for a shared purpose. Surveys show that 63% of consumers prefer to buy from brands that have a clearly stated purpose or shared values. So if your profile just lists facts and it doesn't articulate why you exist, you lose that vital connection. You lose that lift.
Okay, so let's unpack the structure that makes that emotional connection happen. It's clearly more than a data dump. It's about storytelling. So looking at the best practices for 2025, what are the key components we need to be feeding the AI?
Well, we can standardize this into 5 non-negotiable elements. First up is the company overview. This is your factual grounding. History, founding year, headquarters, core products. For example, one source highlighted a company, ABC Technology, founded in 2005. That one data point establishes legacy. But then they immediately enhanced it by noting international awards. It blends the necessary fact with immediate verifiable credibility.
So facts plus early proof points right in that first paragraph. Got it. What follows that?
Second, you need your mission and vision. These are complementary forces. The mission is your purpose today, your why. The vision is your long-term goal, the impact you hope to make in 5 or 10 years.
I see. So one is the compass for today, the other is the map for the future. And then we pivot to the more practical stuff.
Precisely. Third and fourth are services, products, and values culture. You have to list your offerings, but the key is articulating your unique selling points, your USPs. Don't just list what you do. Explain how it changes the client's world.
Hmm.
Then the culture section shares your organization's ethical approach. This is so critical for connecting with both job seekers and that 63% of consumers looking for that value alignment.
And then finally, we have to circle back to the evidence, the proof that supports all these claims.
Yes, the fifth element, key achievements and milestones. Authority is built on evidence, not claims. You need metrics, industry awards, testimonials, case studies. You have to demonstrate reliable growth.
That focus on evidence is vital, but, what truly separates a great profile from a good one is the human element. An AI can list facts, but it often misses the people behind the product.
That's a crucial insight. Profiles really succeed when they introduce the characters behind the business. You need team photos, authentic quotes from leadership, not just that canned corporate speak.
Right.
It just grounds the abstract concept of a corporation in a relatable human experience.
And this ties back to something I found really interesting in the sources, this idea of the founding conflict. What does that actually mean, and how would an AI even handle such a human storytelling device?
The founding conflict is the narrative engine of your company. It's about articulating the pain point, the glaring inefficiency, or the injustice that the founders saw that forced them to create a solution. So the company's existence becomes the resolution to that conflict. For example, we started because we were frustrated by the slow, archaic payment systems.
Ah, okay.
An AI, if it's not properly prompted with this historical context, it tends to skip this emotional starting point. It just defaults to sterile facts. You have to feed the AI the story of the conflict to get a compelling output.
That focus on narrative structure brings us right into the modern era of content creation. Historically, perfecting these five components, well, it took weeks of back and forth. Let's unpack the magnitude of AI's role now.
AI is now like a central nervous system for content. It's not just a word processor. It assists in data analysis, design, translation, customization. The efficiency gains are just enormous. Tools like ChatGPT, Jasper, Claude, they can generate outputs in seconds, not days. This streamlines every phase of the marketing cycle: strategy, production, distribution, SEO.
And that speed is absolutely essential for dealing with modern content volume, isn't it?
It is, because marketers are fighting audience content fatigue. To cut through the noise, you need repetition and consistency across every channel imaginable. That gets so expensive and time-consuming with traditional human labor. Gen AI allows companies to get that consistency and scale while drastically lowering costs. We're seeing high-quality sample profiles generated reliably by AI tools, fully formatted and just ready for human review.
And the production isn't just text either. The need for strong visual support means we have to talk about the multimodal advantage.
Exactly. Modern profiles have to be highly visual. AI tools don't just handle text, they generate images, video scripts, audio clips. We're talking specific Gen AI tools for things like topic clusters or ad copy.
Right, like Dolly and Midjourney for visuals.
Exactly. They're becoming indispensable partners for designers, helping them prototype and generate professional visual content really, really quickly.
So it's about supporting that professional presentation you need for credibility?
Absolutely. But this is where we have to differentiate between just speed and real strategy. The true competitive advantage isn't mass production. It's the customization edge. AI's maximum value emerges when it tailors the content based on the precise target audience.
Mm-hmm.
A profile for an investor requires a radically different tone and focus than one for a job seeker.
And to get that level of precision, you can't just rely on the broad public data the models were trained on.
Correct. General AI models, as powerful as they are, they lack your organization-specific context. They don't know your latest quarterly results or the nuances of your newest product.
Yeah.
This means that leveraging proprietary enterprise data is the competitive edge.
So how do we bridge that gap between the general AI knowledge base and the specific proprietary company facts?
Well, the best practice is to integrate that proprietary data using advanced grounding methods. The most common and effective method is retrieval augmented generation, or RAG. At Twin Labs, we consistently recommend RAG because it's less costly and often more efficient than fine-tuning an entire model.
Okay, hold on. Let's take a moment for those who are still catching up on the acronyms. Could you clarify what RGA is and how it ensures the output is grounded in context instead of, just made up?
Of course. So RJ is essentially an intelligent lookup mechanism. You connect the LLM to your vetted proprietary database of facts, your past RFPs, your product specs, internal policies. When a user asks the AI a question like, write a profile section about our service level agreements, the model first retrieves the relevant facts from that vetted database. Only then does it use its generative ability to write the response.
So it's like giving the AI a custom closed book exam.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Without that step, you risk getting generic marketing fluff, or even worse, invented answers, which just destroys credibility instantly.
I can see the need for a big corporation, but is RJ a necessary step for every business? Like a small startup just looking for a better About Us page.
That's a great question. For a very simple website description, a well-crafted 5-layer prompt might be enough. However, if that small business plans to scale or respond to RFPs, that proprietary data structure is a future-proofing necessity. Think of it as investing in plumbing before you build the second floor. Structured data is the foundation of digital operations.
That makes perfect sense, and it builds right on this idea of proprietary data. If you want AI to deliver that accuracy and consistency, the information you feed it has to be highly structured and machine readable.
Exactly.
This is where we go from just free-form prompting to this idea of a structured profile file, the ultimate cheat sheet.
Exactly. To maximize the AI's operational impact, especially with internal tools like Copilot Studio, a company needs a structured profile file. We recommend building this in a format like JSON. The crucial part is that the full, validated profile is embedded directly in the context of the model.
And this file isn't just for writing the About Us page, is it? It's an operational asset.
It's an indispensable operational asset. Think about the high-stakes applications. This file helps speed up responses to requests for proposals, or RFPs.
For those who don't deal with them daily, can you just quickly remind us what an RFP is and why speed is so critical?
Of course. An RFP is a formal request from a client asking vendors to submit a detailed proposal for a project. They often require dozens of pages of standardized company information, legal history, team bios, financials. If a human has to manually search for that information, it takes days. If the AI can instantly pull verified facts from the JSON file, the response time goes from days to hours, giving you a massive competitive edge.
Okay, that clarifies the necessity. It sounds like creating this file is a serious process. You mentioned 10 essential sections. Can you walk us through them and why each one is so critical for the AI?
The creation process is best done with an interview-driven approach, guaranteeing a human validates every piece of data. We could break the 10 sections into 3 functional blocks: identity, operations, and quality control. First is the identity block. This covers core company information, legal name, location, mission, vision, boilerplate. This ensures the AI maintains a consistent identity.
Makes sense.
Second is the rate structure. This details hourly rates, project tiers, discounts, and even specific, quote, preferences, like rounding rules. This makes sure AI-generated quotes are financially compliant.
Wow, that's specific.
Oh, yes. And third is dialogue preferences. This dictates the AI's personality. Tone, professional, friendly, concise formatting rules, greeting style, even forbidden phrases. It guarantees a consistent brand voice.
I can see how those 3 fields alone would save dozens of hours in review time. But let's challenge the complexity here. What happens when your rates change or your brand voice evolves? Doesn't managing this file negate the time savings?
That's a necessary challenge. The file has to be treated like production code. If the rate structure changes, only the responsible person needs to update that one specific field in the JSON file. It's modular. The initial investment in setup pays dividends in maintenance efficiency later.
Okay, that makes sense. So what's in the operational intelligence block?
This block focuses on capabilities and client fit. Section 4 is services, core offerings, bundles, and notes on deprecated services. This prevents the AI from selling something you no longer offer. 5 is key team members, names, roles, expertise, even contact preferences. This is paramount for building client trust and making sure the AI routes inquiries to the right human expert.
Right, routing is key.
6 is client types. Your ideal industries, company sizes, and also any clients you explicitly do not serve. This is indispensable for the AI to qualify leads efficiently.
So it can just automatically disqualify prospects that aren't a fit. That's powerful.
Incredibly powerful. And 7 is the FAQ. Common questions, validated answers, and defined escalation triggers for sensitive issues.
So that operational block basically turns the AI into a powerful first-line business development rep. What about the final 3 points, the quality control?
These form the assurance and safety block. 8 is compliance and policies. Confidentiality statements, legal notes, your AI usage disclosure. This protects you legally. 9 is examples. Sample responses and quotes that perfectly reflect the preferred voice and tone. This acts as a final calibration blueprint for the AI. And finally, number 10 is metadata. Simple but vital. The version number and last updated date. It ensures everyone is using the current validated profile and creates an audit trail.
And the recommended process for generating this detailed JSON file isn't just manual data entry, is it?
No, the best approach actually uses an AI model as an interview-driven profile builder. It systematically interviews the human expert, one section at a time. It summarizes the answers, allows for human review and editing, that part is key, and then generates the final JSON file in a one-page executive summary.
That discussion of the JSON file shows just how important structure is in our data, and we need to apply that exact same rigor to our prompts. Prompt engineering isn't a niche skill anymore. It's a core business literacy requirement. We all know the fundamental equation. Vague input gives you vague results. Structured specific input gives you results that feel like they came from an expert.
That's the starting point. But the anatomy of a truly effective, scalable prompt, the kind that turns the AI into a virtual operations manager, is composed of 5 crucial layers.
Okay, let's unpack these 5 layers, starting with the most foundational one, role.
Layer 1 is the role, or persona. This defines the AI's capacity and expertise. You aren't asking it a question. You're commanding it to act as a specific, specialized professional. For example, you are a seasoned social media strategist with a background in pediatric nutrition.
I find that role definition makes the single biggest difference in output quality. Why is establishing that persona so potent for the AI?
It acts as an immediate constraint on the AI's vast knowledge base. By assigning a role, you force the LLM to access the specific knowledge, vocabulary, and communication style associated with that profession. It immediately sets a higher bar.
And layer 2 then provides the necessary background information for that persona to act on.
Precisely. Layer 2 is context. This furnishes all the background details.
Yeah.
Your brand voice, your target audience's pain points, relevant business history. We saw the example of defining a juice bar's voice as energetic, vibrant, and passionately health-conscious.
Right.
It grounds the AI and prevents it from falling back on generic, bland language.
Layer 3, the task or objective, seems straightforward, but I guess it requires surgical precision.
It does. Layer 3 outlines the specific aims. The more precise you are, the better the outcome. Instead of write a blog post about our new feature, you say, write a 600-word blog post in 3 sections that compares our new feature to our competitor, focusing only on speed metrics. Clarity is king.
I see. And then how do we give the AI a tangible blueprint for what the finished product should look like?
That's layer 4. Examples. This provides a blueprint for the desired output structure, tone, and format. Examples are indispensable for calibration. If you want a specific tone, you have to show the AI 3 examples of past communications that achieved it.
So we define who it is, what it knows, what it needs to do, and what the finished product should look like. That brings us to the final layer, the boundaries.
Layer 5 is constraints. This is the critical layer that ensures focused, goal-aligned output, preventing what we call off-course digressions. Constraints are explicit boundaries, a hard word limit, a required reading level, a required tone, specific formatting, and specific vocabulary to use or avoid. These constraints are what force the AI output to be authentic and brand-aligned.
The power of the constraint, I think, is that it turns a general-purpose model into a specialist. But the process is iterative, isn't it? You don't just accept the first output.
You never accept generic output. You treat the initial output as a calibration test. If the result is a canned answer, you have to refine your role and your constraints until the result is authentic.
For businesses looking to scale this, is there an advanced technique to maintain consistency without forcing everyone to memorize this 5-layer framework?
Yes. The key is using variables within a master prompt template. Instead of copying and pasting the full prompt every time, a team uses a pre-built template. Certain elements like the series name or the call to action are designated as variables. The user only needs to modify those.
So 90% of the complex input is automated.
Exactly. This saves immense time, reduces training overhead, and, most importantly, fosters consistency. This kind of structured approach is vital for scaling, which is precisely why at Twin Labs we integrate prompt engineering consulting directly into our advisory services. Getting the input structure right is the key.
That focus on structure is aimed at consistency, but it can't replace human oversight, especially for accuracy. We have to address the elephant in the room. AI models can and do hallucinate.
This is the critical vulnerability for any company profile that depends on trust. When an AI hallucination appears in a public profile, say, claiming you won an award you didn't, it instantly destroys your brand authority.
And this isn't just theoretical, is it?
No, we've seen empirical evidence. One case study had models like Bard and Claude try to write a report based on 63 separate CSV files. The models repeatedly failed to parse the data. Bard, for instance, produced a report with falsified statistics and cited non-existent data tables.
Wow, so just made up numbers.
Yeah.
That's terrifying for a business. The danger is that these errors sound so accurate, but they are completely untethered from reality.
It is a critical risk, and we know consumer concern is high. 74% of U.S. adults are concerned about AI spreading false information. If you want trust, you need a published, robust internal process, a fact-checking stack.
Okay, let's detail that stack. What's the practical accuracy checklist businesses should implement?
It has to be a structured workflow. Here's a 6-point checklist. 1, risk screen the brief before generating content. Flag any legal, medical, or financial claims. These trigger stricter source requirements.
Okay.
2, ground the draft. Mandate the use of ROG over a vetted internal corpus like that JSON file. And require inline citations for any non-common claims. The model needs to show its work. 3, cross-verify. Confirm key claims with at least 2 independent recent primary sources. 4, record decisions. Maintain a fact ledger, a structured audit log of every major claim and the rationale for the final choice.
And what are the last 2?
5, review tone last. Only polish the voice and flow after the facts have been verified. And 6, attach evidence. Publish with visible citations, the last review date, and editor attribution. This supports EEAT experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness.
It sounds like imposing professional editorial governance on the AI pipeline, and beyond accuracy, there's the broader ethical landscape.
This landscape is non-negotiable. Our sources outline 8 ethical conditions required for responsible Gen AI adoption.
Let's talk about those conditions. Some, like accuracy, are obvious, but what about something like fairness in a company profile?
Absolutely. The 8 are transparency, privacy, fairness, accuracy, accountability, compliance, discrimination, and intellectual property. So transparency means making AI involvement clear. Privacy is about protecting sensitive data. Accuracy we've covered. Accountability means someone is responsible for the output. Compliance is adhering to laws. Fairness and discrimination are vital. If an AI is trained on biased historical data, it might inadvertently reinforce social inequalities. You must actively audit and mitigate content that reinforces bias.
That makes the distinction clear. The AI must represent the company as it wants to be seen, not just as it historically was. That brings us to the last one. Intellectual property. Why does IP stand out so much?
While all 8 are necessary, intellectual property is the legal safeguard that protects your brand's future.
Yeah.
The IP mandate means content marketers must respect creative ownership. You have to avoid prompts that try to replicate copyrighted material, and you must use AI platforms that offer copyright indemnity. Failing on IP exposes you to massive legal risk and damages your reputation.
Okay, so once you have your strategy, your facts, your structured data, you need to apply these principles to the key digital profiles.
Exactly, and 2 are absolutely mission critical: LinkedIn company pages and Google business profile.
Let's start with LinkedIn. It's often treated as just an update feed, but the company page is much more.
It acts as your silent 24/7 salesperson. The key focus has to be on conversion and discoverability. You must use clear, keyword-rich messaging in the tagline and the About section so potential clients and partners can find you.
And the call to action, the CTA button, that's a significant lever for conversions.
It is, and it's often neglected. You can customize the CTA button, visit website, contact us, learn more. But here's the crucial step. You have to pair that CTA link with a trackable UTM link.
Tell us more about that. Why is the UTM link non-negotiable?
A UTM link lets you track the source of your traffic. Without it, you know traffic came from LinkedIn, but you don't know if it came from your profile itself or an ad or a post. A UTM link lets you measure the exact return on investment of your profile page.
Right, it connects the dots. And what about using the page for social proof?
Social proof is everything in B2B. You need to showcase employee stories, testimonials, and most importantly, partnerships. When a prospect sees you work with major brands, it instantly lowers the perceived risk. Pin your best social proof to the featured section. And the final mandate for LinkedIn is consistency. Post 2 to 3 times per week.
Okay, now let's pivot to the Google business profile. This feels way stricter, more like a compliance exercise.
It absolutely is. The Google business profile is essential for local search visibility, but the rules are unforgiving. Your representation has to be 100% consistent with the real world. Your signage, your stationery.
What are the most common mistakes people make with the name field?
They try to game the system with keywords. The rule is that your business name must accurately reflect the real-world name. Don't include marketing taglines, store codes, or fully capitalized words unless it's your brand name. And definitely no phone numbers or websites in the name.
And categories are a big point of confusion, too. People stuff them with keywords.
And it's the fastest path to suspension. You have to choose the fewest, most specific categories that describe your overall core business. If you run a hotel, your category is hotel. You don't also add swimming pool unless that's a separate, verifiable part of your core business.
What about the address requirements, especially for service area businesses working from home?
The requirement is a precise, accurate, real-world address. P.O. boxes are totally unacceptable. If you're a service area business, you have to hide your residential address and define a service area, which shouldn't extend more than about 2 hours of driving time from your base.
This entire journey, from strategy to compliance, hinges on measurement. We need new KPIs for these AI projects.
Traditional metrics just aren't enough. We have to measure effectiveness across 4 distinct domains. 1. Model quality. Accuracy, safety, and coherence. Does the text make logical sense? 2. System quality. Uptime, error rate, and model latency. If the AI is slow, productivity falls. 3. Adoption.mui. User satisfaction, feature usage, are your teams actually using the tools? And 4. Business value. This is the ultimate measure. Productivity value, time saved on RFPS, cost savings, and innovation or growth metrics.
That productivity value must be significant if you're codifying your whole company's context into one file.
Precisely. That codified knowledge ensures the AI always speaks with authority and accuracy. And by focusing intensely on structured data input, like the JSON framework and prompt engineering excellence, which are the foundational pillars of our work here at Twin Labs, we help our clients minimize costly errors, improve accuracy, and ensure their models are grounded. This rigorous approach maximizes the impact of those KPIs and translates the AI investment into real, measurable business value.
All right, let's wrap this up.
To summarize our deep dive, the company profile is not a brochure. It is a vital strategic asset. It requires a compelling story, a clear vision, and verifiable proof points. Secondly, AI provides unmatched speed and scale, but success hinges entirely on structured inputs. You have to dedicate resources to building out structured knowledge, like that 10-point JSON framework, and practicing masterful prompt engineering. And finally, human oversight remains absolutely non-negotiable. You have to implement rigorous processes for fact-checking to guard against hallucinations, and you must adhere to all 8 ethical requirements, with intellectual property being the critical legal safeguard.
That focus on codified knowledge creates a powerful flywheel for scaling authority. So we talked a lot about how an AI agent, powered by your JSON file, can draft SOPs and answer RFPs. Consider this for your next strategic move. If your company's entire knowledge is perfectly codified in a machine-readable format, how does that fundamentally shift the job function of your new hires? Will their primary role be to manage the AI systems, or will they simply be hired to act on the finalized, perfectly validated insights the system provides? The nature of expertise is changing right now. Thank you for joining us today. Visit the Twin Labs website for more business insights.